So now I'm going to do a blue car, but just one thing I forgot to do. Have you guessed it? Yeah, these wing mirrors. You don't really need them. People won't realise, but they can be quite interesting sometimes to paint. Okay, so now we've got a car going away from us, and we're going to do a blue car. So in some ways it's like doing the front again, but maybe these lights are going to be a bit wider at the back, and they're going to be red lights. So that's the back, and then here we've got the side, and again slightly angling, giving it an angle. I hope you can see that. There's a slight angle there, like that. And then I'm going to get a thick mix, and I think this time I'll use my liner brush for the tyres. Mix it up well. You don't want it looking red. Red tyres. Interesting. So here are the tyres, and we're going to have tyres here as well. One there, and then one about here. This gap is going to be wider than this gap, so it's really important to remember that if you want it to look accurate. And I need to make these a bit more rounded. They're a bit too ovalish. And of course these tyres at the back are lower down, and these tyres at the front are higher up. It's a very important point. So I kind of do the side of the tyre, and then I do the back of the tyres. Oh, that actually looks quite good. And I'm just going to do a simple shadow. Get a bit purple in there, going across. Oh, maybe coming back. Shall we have a shadow coming back? So maybe that tie needed to be a bit longer. And need a bit more red in this mix. And in reality it gets fainter. A shadow gets fainter towards the edge. Normally, although they can be a bit complicated. Okay, and then this, I have to be careful here because this almost looks like a car coming towards us rather than away from us. So nowadays most cars, the boot isn't very long, is it? So this edge is going to be quite close to the side, this side here, because it's not a very long boot. And then this angle is going to be like this, quite a big angle, but this one's almost going to be vertical. So getting these angles right is crucial when you paint cars, and also a slight curve. It's really important to get the angles right and to have a slight curve. Although you do get some really boxy cars. Most cars have a slight curve in them. Okay. So it looks like the back, the front, but once we add those red lights, hopefully it's going to look like the back of the car. Fingers crossed. I really want to make this mix thick. It's just not thick enough. And then, this is a bit of an experiment what I'll do next. Ooh, just hide that mark. I'm going to wipe out my brush, dab it, use some tissue so it's super dry now, and I'm just going to wipe out like that. So this is another way in which you can get little highlights in your windscreen, because windscreens are they can be very dark, but they can also be super bright and with glinting, and also you can get all kinds of reflections in them. Yeah, I quite like that. And then I'm going to do just some little silly details. That hopefully convince people this is a car. Yeah, I don't like that line. It was too thick and it was too straight. That's a bit better. Okay, actually that's not bad. I was a bit worried. And there's our license plate. What I could do is actually wipe that out and try and make it white. So I might even have a go at that just as an experiment, because they're normally yellow or white, aren't they? But they're not blue, so perhaps I should try. Oh look, there you go already. So basically, if you just get your liner brush and you just wet it, and you can really take your time with this. This is one of the nice things to do if you are a finicky person and you like to take your time and make a good job of something. This is something you can really take your time at. Many things in watercolour painting, you've got to be quick and you've got to be pretty bold in order for it to look good. But there are certain things where you can be a bit finicky, and that's one of them. That worked out really well. Now, final thing are these red lights. My red is a bit dirty, I think, but if you water it down a lot, it becomes fairly clean. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about this going over the edges. I mean, I'm being a bit too careful anyway with this painting of a car. Normally when I do cars, I like to join the windscreen with the body just to get that feeling of connection and the mixing of the colours. It looks a bit more exciting and a bit more dynamic. But I didn't want to give you too much in this lesson. And then if you don't like little messes, then you can just dry your brush and wipe these up. And I think that looks like a fairly respectable car. I mean, one thing I would have done is maybe made these not so big, not go down so far. So I think maybe even wider, a little wider, but a bit not going down so deep. They look a bit too big, like headlights. So that's the only thing that I don't like about that. And maybe the body's a bit small and the windscreen is a bit too big. But there you go. It's always good to assess your work and try to be honest. It's very, very difficult to be honest, especially about your own work, and to see what's working and what isn't, just so that next time you can do it better. So out of all these 3 cars, this one is my favourite. Not sure about you, but there you go. And oh, I almost forgot again, didn't I? These wing mirrors. Okay, here we go. 1, and probably you wouldn't even see the one on the other side there. Oh, and I even forgot to do the top, didn't I? Goodness me. To be honest, for a long time I've never bothered to do the top, and you don't really have to, but one day I was actually looking at a car. I realised I don't always look at cars as much as I should, because I do paint them a lot, and I realised that you really can see the roof, and that it has this curve, and as it comes down it gets fainter and fainter. So although you don't have to do it, I think it works fairly well. It's quite an interesting touch. Okay, so there we go. Please have a go and have some fun. Happy painting.